Okay, let's dive in. Imagine this scene. It's Alexandria, Egypt, February 15th, 2019. We're in the Ramil neighborhood around 9:00 a.m. You know, that time when the day is just starting, maybe you hear the street vendors, the traffic noise, just normal life. In one particular apartment, things seemed calm. The youngest son, Mohammed, he'd already left for work.
Yeah, just a completely typical Friday morning unfolding. And then, just like that, everything changes. That whole sense of ordinary safety just gets shattered.
Exactly, out of nowhere, this single piercing scream, just frantic. Neighbors said it pulled them right out of their home straight towards one apartment when they managed to get inside. I mean, what they found was just horrific.
It was Haja Feriyal. She was an elderly woman, really well respected in the community, found lying there, just drowned in her own blood. And right near her was her daughter-in-law, Douha. She was distraught, had this wound on her head.
And Doha's story, right then and there, was immediate. She said some violent stranger broke in, attacked her first, knocked her out cold, and while she was unconscious, this intruder apparently murdered Ferial and then stole valuables. You know, the classic terrifying home invasion scenario.
A terrible random act of violence.
Oh.
What we're looking at today tells a much darker, closer story. This deep dive traces back from that horrific morning, asking if the real danger wasn't a stranger at all, but someone welcomed into the family less than a year earlier. Someone disguised as a bride.
It's chilling. So to understand how things got to that point, we really need to start with the victim herself. Haja Feriyal, tell us about her. Who was she?
Feriyal was really a pillar in Ramil. A widow, lived pretty modestly on her pension, but everyone knew her, respected her, known for being generous, actually. And crucially, she had this lifelong habit, accumulating gold. But listen, this wasn't about looking flashy or anything.
No.
No, it was strictly security, like an insurance policy for her 3 kids. Any extra money she had, it went into gold,
Yeah.
tucked away for their future.
And she raised her kids well, right? Responsible. Mohammed, the youngest, he lived with her. The sources say he was actually hesitant about getting married.
That's right. Mostly because he felt the financial weight of it all, setting up a new home. He didn't want to be a burden, especially not on his mother. It shows that self-reliance she taught him.
He sounds very dutiful.
Absolutely. Which is kind of central to what happens next. Feriyal got tired of waiting for him, apparently. She took charge. Saw a young woman, Douha, in the street one day. Checked out her family simple, seemed respectable. And Feriyal just decided, okay, this is the one.
So that leads to the arrangement, this Salon marriage, as it's called. For anyone listening who might not know, what does that really mean here?
It's basically an arranged match. It's not based on the couple dating or anything like that. It's all about the family's reputations. Feriyal vouched for her side. Douha's family vouched for theirs.
And Mohammed, he just went along with it.
He trusted his mother implicitly. Her judgment was enough for him. So he agreed to marry Douha purely on that recommendation.
Wow. And right there, that moment of trust, that's where the deception begins, isn't it? Douha's family, they were poor.
Very poor, yes. They were thrilled by the match, the connection to a respected family like Feriyal's. But they were also terrified. How could they possibly afford the wedding costs?
So they nearly backed out.
They were about to. But Douha intervened. She had this plan already forming. She told her parents, look, accept the proposal, go out now and buy everything needed for the wedding furniture, appliances, the works.
Yeah.
But crucially, she told them to buy it all on installment plans. And she said she would handle the payments.
Oh, okay. I see where this is going. A financial trap. Set up from day one.
Precisely. Douha had no intention of paying those debts off long-term, maybe just the first couple of payments. Her actual plan was to leverage Feriyal's generosity or maybe Mohammed's sense of duty to essentially force them to take over these huge debts.
Setting them up for financial dependency, it's incredibly calculated.
And there's this telling detail from that very first visit back in early 2018. When Douha met Feriyal, her focus wasn't really on Mohammed or the apartment. It was apparently lasered in on the amount of gold Feriyal was wearing.
Like she was assessing the assets from the get-go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It suggests she saw the whole thing as a kind of business transaction right from the start.
But wait, if the marriage was based on reputation and, honor, how did Douha get Mohammed's character so wrong? How did she think she could just force this financial burden onto him?
That's the tragic miscalculation at the heart of it all. She assumed tradition and reputation would automatically equal a financial safety net. So she marries in. And for those first couple of months, she plays the part perfectly. Especially kind, very attentive to Haja Feriyal, who's in her 70s, needed some looking after. Douha clearly saw Feriyal as like the secret word to unlock the family's resources.
She played the part well. She even got pregnant just 2 months in. You'd think that would secure her place, wouldn't you?
You would, but that's exactly when reality, the financial reality, just slammed it to her plan. Well, while she's pregnant, she starts to realize her huge mistake. Mohamed was responsible, yes, but that meant his budget was tight, really tight. He wasn't the type to just take on massive extra debts for things like wedding furniture bought on installments, even with a baby coming. He'd learned that self-reliance lesson from his mother, maybe a bit too well for Douha's plan.
So she misjudged him completely. She saw the mother's generosity but missed the son's strict sense of responsibility. That's tragic.
And the pressure just starts building. Douha's parents start calling her. They're desperate. They can't make the installment payments. They're facing legal trouble. Douha tries to get extra money from Mohamed subtly, but he holds firm. His budget is his budget. It becomes clear. The money isn't going to come through charm or persuasion.
And this is the turning point, isn't it, where the focus shifts. The sources suggest this is when the devil within, as they put it, really started planning if she couldn't get it nicely.
She'd have to take it. So about 8 months after the wedding, Douha's now 6 months pregnant. She makes her next move, physical proximity. She suggests that she and Mohamed should move into Feriyal's apartment full-time, the excuse, to better care for the elderly woman and also, save money on rent.
And Feriyal and Mohamed were happy about this.
Well, they were delighted initially, saw it as the family coming together properly. But then, during that month, Douha lived there before the murder. Things felt off. Both Feriyal and Mohamed later recalled noticing something strange, a disturbing look in Douha's eyes sometimes, a shift. They felt suspicious, but, well, they didn't say anything.
And she used that time.
Absolutely. That month was pure surveillance. She watched Feriyal constantly, subtly tracking where she hid her cash, where she put the golfos in. Feriyal apparently moved her hiding spots often. Douha was looking for patterns, keys, weaknesses.
Which brings us, inevitably, to that morning, February 15th. Mohamed's gone to work. Douha knows Feriyal takes daily medication.
And her original plan, incredibly, was cold-blooded. But in her mind, maybe less messy. She planned to give Feriyal a massive overdose with her medication.
She's hoping she'd pass out or maybe even die, making it look natural.
Exactly. Induce unconsciousness, or what might seem like a natural death. Then she could steal the valuables. Since Mohamed didn't know the exact amounts his mother had, she probably figured the missing money wouldn't raise too many questions after a natural death.
But it didn't work out that way.
No. The plan fell apart almost immediately. She couldn't find the key to the locked cabinet or drawer where Feriyal kept the main stash. She started to panic. Grabbed a screwdriver, tried to pry it open.
And the noise.
The noise woke Feriyal up. Imagine that. Waking up to see your pregnant daughter-in-law, someone you trust, trying to break into your savings with a screwdriver. Feriyal started screaming for help.
And the panic just escalated into violence.
Brutal violence. Douha rushed her, covered her face with a quilt, tried to strangle her. But Feriyal was fighting, screaming. So Douha, she took the screwdriver, and she used it. Inflicted a fatal blow to the head. The reports say she drove it completely into Feriyal's skull.
Oh my God.
After ensuring Feriyal was dead, that cold calculation seemed to return. Douha pulled out the screwdriver, then she broke into the cabinet, took the cash, about 22,000 Egyptian pounds and all the gold hidden there, wrapped it all up, quickly hid the bag under the kitchen sink.
But she wasn't done. There's that horrifying detail about the jewelry Feriyal was wearing.
Yes, truly ghastly. She noticed Feriyal still had a gold ring and 3 bracelets on. And instead of just slipping them off in her state, she apparently wounded Feriyal's hand badly to rip the jewelry free.
And then the mistake, the one that sealed her fate.
The fatal error. In her panic, her frenzy, she didn't just take the victim's jewelry, she put it on, put the ring and the 3 bracelets onto her own hands. Then she gave herself a small cut on the head with the screwdriver, collapsed near Feriyal, messed up the scene a bit to look like a struggle, and only then started screaming for the neighbors.
Just an incredibly flawed cover-up. The police must have seen through it quickly.
Almost immediately. First big red flag, the building's CCTV. It showed absolutely no sign of any stranger entering or leaving around that time. None. Second, Douha's story was too precise about the money. When they asked what was stolen, she instantly said 22,000 Egyptian pounds.
That detail her own husband didn't even know.
Exactly. How would she know the exact amount if a random robber took it while she was supposedly unconscious? And third, the crime scene itself. A robber flees. They don't usually take the time to carefully hide the loot under the kitchen sink inside the apartment they just robbed. The forensic team found the cash and gold right there.
But the final nail in the coffin was the jewelry she was wearing, wasn't it?
That was the trigger for the confession. The police looked at her, this woman from a poor background, claiming she was attacked and robbed, but miraculously, the robber left her wearing a noticeable gold ring and 3 gold bracelets.
While stealing the victim's identical items.
Right. So they asked her, very simply, why would the robber steal all of Alhaja Feriyal's gold, but leave this valuable ring and these bracelets on your hands? And Douha, maybe reflexively, just blurted out something like, I don't own any gold, forgetting in that moment that she was literally wearing the victim's jewelry. That contradiction broke her. She confessed everything.
It's just devastating. This whole nightmare unfolded in less than 10 months of marriage. The irony is just crushing. Alhaja Feriyal, who valued family reputation so highly, personally chose the very person who would betray that trust and brutally end her life.
And the motive boiled down to debt and greed. The investigation found she acted alone. She was sentenced to death. It's a horrific illustration of how financial lies, right at the foundation of a relationship meant to be built on trust, can just fester and explode.
The source material really emphasizes that clash, doesn't it? The pressure of upholding tradition, the honorable marriage smashing head-on into the modern reality of crushing debt from things like installment plans. It created an impossible situation for Douha in her mind.
It absolutely did. That pressure cooker environment, the sources use that phrase, that Douha eventually allowed the devil to think for her when she couldn't see any other way out. It really leaves you thinking, doesn't it? How fast can that kind of desperation, that hidden financial pressure, turn a calculated lie into something as horrific as premeditated murder? And what about those warning signs, those strange looks Feriyal and Mohamed noticed? How often do we choose to ignore those little signals to keep things looking normal on the surface?